ask you, have you had Western names or English names before?
Yes, I've had two. One after my head teacher in Esunyun, where my father was teaching brass band music, called one Mr. Williams. He loved me, he liked me, so I took his name. I took after his name for baptism. Then in '59, I had met another teacher called Ernest, something, and he also was very nice to me. So I took his name as well as my confirmation name in '59. So I became Ernest William Kwabena Adjei. Throughout the time I was, schooling, and I was in the university until I went to the University of Strathclyde. And when I came to do my data collection for the PhD, I dropped them through an affidavit because I thought that I had been teased enough by the Scots with whom I had schooled, and I thought that why don't I become a Ghanaian, an African? So that's how it came that I dropped those names.
Interesting. To become a Ghanaian and an African.
Yeah.
What constitutes being a Ghanaian and an African for you at that?
Oh, there are many, if you like, many ways and many actions, many thoughts, so many things combined together.
Such as?
But right from the word go, the first thing that hits people is your name, your identity. Kwabena Adjei could be found no other place than Ghana here. And Ghana is part of Africa, and a very important part of Africa. So I feel good being called Kwabena Adjei because I discovered much later that the Post Office Savings Bank book my father got for me had the name Kwabena Adjei.
Of course, you took up the names of Williams and Ernest yourself. I
took them myself. I was enthralled by it. I was a young one. I didn't know anything. I was influenced by the Christianity that were made to, come to live with at that time. As young people, we didn't understand. So when my mind started opening up and understood, I said I should be a Ghanaian.
Okay. Before I asked you what your mind opened up into and what did you come to understand, I want to know, who is Kwabena Adjei?
Kwabena Adjei is the son of one Winfred Kofi Adjei, who was a very popular police band sergeant in the 30s and 40s. And the son of Akosua, Esther Akosua, who died about 2 years ago. My daddy, Winfred Kofi Adjei, died in '58 when I was 15. And my mother died when I was quite matured. And so I will not say I'm an orphan. I'm a very independent person right now. But I remember them with a great deal of fondness because they brought me up to face the world the way I'm facing this world. I was born on the 9th of March 1943 when my daddy was a policeman here in Accra during the war. And I really was speaking some Ghana, but we went around Kumasi, Sefi, Esunyun, Bibiani, and all those places. And I lost that language.
Oh,
what I can tell you is that on Abu Ponti, Tomolori time, That one I remember.
What does that mean? My guy is not too.
Well, you know that. You know, I don't have to. You know, I don't have to. That is what I remember.
Okay, playing on the streets of Accra, perhaps.
Yes, you know, in the police barracks.
I see. So, I want to know, of course, how growing up in all those areas contributed to who you are today. But you said that when your mind opened up and you understood, what did your mind open up to and what did you understand? And how has that defined you?
Well, you see, we started growing up at the time Ghana was also opening up and growing up for independence. And Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah influenced some of us a lot. And, you know, the emphasis on African personality, the training through young pioneers, and then the brochures that were issued out for the various developments that took place here in Ghana about the development of the township of Tema, of the construction of the Akosomo Dam, of the construction of the Accra-Tema Highway, then the free education system that came, which enabled some of us to go to training college almost free, you know, and we were even paid. And I read a lot about him. I ordered a lot of books on my own at a very young age. I read about his book, Africa Must Unite, this and that and that.
And what did you find most defining about him?
What I found was that he was defining me as a person, as an African, as a Ghanaian.
I want to ask you this, the issue on the issue of African personality. We've often said it, the African personality, we propound it, you know, and yet nobody has really been able, for me, explain it the way that we younger people can understand. What is the African personality? Is it about the clothes we wear?
Personality.
Is it about perceptions?
No, personality is the way, you know, the way you are, your character, your temperament, your disposition, your attitude, the way you carry yourself. It is an identity of, if you like, you in the world in which you live.
So how does the African stand out?
So the African must stand out not only as a black person, but a person with a certain disposition to this world, as a person who wants always to culture his or her identity.
Culture and identity.
Want to culture, nurture
Yeah.
his or her identity. Somebody who will be found different anywhere he is, as belonging to the continent of Africa.
So what makes,
free man.
What makes the African different? What makes the Ghanaian different? You, in fact, what makes you different?
One, I'll tell you about my physical features. I have a flat, relatively flat nose. I have broad lips. I have a hair that you can see on me. You understand? And I try to speak the white man's language. I have my own language. You understand? I have to show that I am different from anybody else. And I have to be proud of that. You understand? I don't want to imitate anybody from any part of the world. I have to show that I come from Africa. And if you want to trace my roots, you trace my root to Ghana. And if you want to go further, you get it to Nkrumah, where I come from. And I want, you know, to respect my traditions.
What are
to
those?
respect my culture. You understand? To continue to propagate the positive aspects of my life, the belief systems, the value systems that others don't have.
Okay, of course, I have to ask you, what are your beliefs as
I'm
a
Christian.
Is that not in contradiction of everything that you've been trying to get away from?
Oh, you know, that seems to be a contradiction. But I think the concept of the Supreme Being is universal. And I find
what about
that
Kwame Nyankopon, as we call him
that's
here?
that is what we are talking about. Kwame Nyankopon. What is it in relation to saying God Almighty or something else? So we say Supreme Being. It's a matter of belief. And as a matter of belief, we know there is God, spelled with capital G. That is the omnipotent being, omniscient being, omnipresent being. And then there are the gods. And we Africans believe that our small gods relate in a way to the Supreme Being.
Do you believe that?
I do. I strongly do.
And again, is that not in contradiction
It's not
to
in
what the Bible
contradiction
says?
at all.
No other gods?
Usually the Bible is trying to orient our minds to the way we live. You understand? But leave our belief to ourselves. I don't think the Bible forces anybody to believe things other than those that are not in the Bible itself. The Bible itself doesn't contradict the presence of other gods. It doesn't. And we believe that we have our gods, small gods, and we reach the bigger God through those gods. It may not be a contradiction. It depends upon the way you want to reach that bigger God, the Supreme Being, through the smaller gods.
Wow, interesting. I'd love to delve into this, but I'm curious about other areas of your life as well. You were one time a teacher?
Yes. I train as a teacher. Yeah.
It's interesting. You went to training college in Pussigga.
Yeah.
And also, if my research is correct, Jessica Training College as well.
Yeah, I went to Pussigga. I was admitted to Pussigga Training College in 1962 to do a Set B teachers course. And then because of the time, it was changed to a Set A, 4-year TTC, after I had left, what do you call it, my middle school in 1960, August 1960.
And where did that take place?
August 1960, my hometown, Nkrumah, or say Nkrumah, Chumuru. So I went to Pussigga, I was admitted. In course of the course, they changed it to a 4-year, you know, 4-year training college, you know, post-primary. And I was doing my correspondence courses, and they were not reaching me up there early enough, and the place was a little bit hot. And I was reading into the night. And so I appealed to my principal then, and then he granted me the opportunity to transfer to Jessica Training College.
But what motivated you to go to Pussigga in the first place? Why did you choose to go there?
My daddy had died in 1958. I was 15, and there was no help from anywhere. He had helped everybody, but at the time I grew up to that level, I wanted to become an engineer. He had died. So I said it elsewhere, that when I was in the middle school, middle from 59, I had a teacher who motivated me a lot. His name is Michael Afriye. He rose up very high, you know, in the police service. He's in the morgue now. He's in the morgue? He's in the morgue now. And,
our condolences. Our
condolences. Yeah. And he had left Ghana National College.
Excuse me.
The father had died through a snake bite. And his younger brother was in Achimota. Emmanuel Afriye was a brilliant one. So Michael came out to do people teaching in order to provide for the education of his younger brother. who later on, did a successful service in the United Nations. He's now on retirement also. So whilst he was there, he asked me, to copy courses, the other courses from Rapid Resource College. It was by a headmaster in the other school who had money. He hadn't. He was using his money to take care of the brother. And I can assure you, my spellings were very good. My English was good. My handwriting was excellent. So I copied everything for him. A-level, British economic history, British Constitution, geography. And that was in middle Form 3. So by the time Kwabena Adjei, left middle Form 3, I knew British Constitution, I knew British economic history, I knew A-level geography. And so when he left, he told me, look, your daddy had died. Going to a secondary school is out of the way. So follow my course, take the same subjects, go to a training college, have some time, they will pay you there, and then try to see what comes, for you in your life. So that's what I did. The moment I entered the Pussigga Training College.
My question is, why did you go to Pussigga, all the way up north from where you were?
I didn't. Those days, if you wanted to go to a training college, you had to teach for at least 2 years. And I was so little, so slim. You understand? And nobody would take me as a teacher. You see? At my age now, at 69, I look a little bit younger than that.
Very handsome indeed.
I was very, very, very little at that time. Nobody would take me as a teacher. They thought that the students would bully me. They wouldn't take me. So a cousin of mine took me.
But what did you think?
Yeah, I thought they were right, because there was very little difference between the students I was going to teach and myself, So my cousin took me to Naleregu, near Gambaga in the northern region. And when I was there, I wrote lots and lots of applications. I'm sorry to say, they used to say, there are far too many natives on the waiting list for you to be considered those days. But the opportunities were open there. So we tried and tried and tried. And that particular year, many people didn't qualify for entry into the training college. So there was a supplementary exam. And I went to take the exam for John Bosco Training College in Nkrumah and for Pussigga.
Interesting.
And then I was called for the 2. And at the same time, I was training to go to a nursing school. So
at the same
Hospital,
time?
yes, because I was looking for opportunities.
Right.
I was looking for, let's say, a platform to jump and achieve my ambitions. I was tied up in terms of ambition.
Wow. Okay,
I
Doctor.
wanted to be somebody.
I see you're fired up. Dr. Kwabena Adjei, you experienced at Pussigga Training College and then to Jessica, where you were transferred. Indeed, how was it like for you?
No, it was like a young man who wanted to make it. And all my life, my attention during school time or holidays were concentrated on books. When I was in the training college, reading educational psychology, child, so and so, it was very little. To me, it wasn't any stuff that would satisfy me. So I ordered the correspondence courses that my teacher, Mike Afriye, had recommended for me, and then I was doing them at the same time. So by the time I went to training college, I remember that I transferred from Pussigga to Jasikan. I remember that my principal called, I think, Hosu Poble, who became also the chief executive of Public Services Commission. He asked me whether I could fit into his college. I told him he should give me.
Did he tell you why he was asking you?
No, he said his students were very bright,
Sharp.
they were sharp. So could I fit? The first time I went there, I beat all of them. All right?
Mm-hmm.
No, the way I went about things, the teachers themselves didn't find it easy with me. I had problems with most of them.
I want to
and
take
so
it
at the end of it, they became my friends.
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
After I'd left college, they became my friends. And
maybe perhaps you had challenged them to improve.
I had challenged them. I would challenge them. This grammar is wrong. This geography is wrong. This one is wrong. And I remember one SDK Ajima who became an officer in today's BNI asking me, Dr. Kwabena, he said, Kwabena Adjei, were you a teacher or in grammar in Pussigga? Now, because I was doing my A-levels.
Did he mean that, or he was being sarcastic? He was asking you genuinely because you.
No, he was angry.
Okay.
I was challenging him in class.
Right.
But then gradually they got to know that this man is a very ambitious young man we should encourage. And they encouraged me. By the time I left the 4th year, I had my O-levels and two A-levels.
Twice you've used the word ambition.
Yes.
And you were fired up and you were charged. But before I continue with that, I want to share with you what some viewers are saying of you and are asking about you. Desmond Hoto says, I'm proud of you, Mr. Chairman. Very proud indeed. And Richmond Bass says, Doctor, I just like you. Continue the good works. And Philippe J. Mensah says, tell Doc that he and his party should try and create jobs for the youth because we, the graduates, are suffering. We'll get there. And also Kingsford Obuku Boatin says, Doctor, you de be keke. And that's the biggest compliment you can get today. You de be keke. Yeah, you're sharp. That's what he says, yes. And Obed Latte says, wow, I'm shocked. Wow, Doctor is really complex, but calm. That's his impression of you so far. Right. And, okay, Isaac Harvey also says, you two, you did be too much, Doc. Yeah. And Akosia Solomon Akosa says, ask the chairman what he has regretted being a member of the NDC party, per what is happening now in the party. We'll get there, Akosia. And it did be for you and others, as says Elder Asem. Okay, and somebody also says, Richmond Bad again says, I just like him. So thank you, folks. Keep sending the text messages coming and contribute to the discussion. Yes.
They should criticize me a bit.
Indeed, I'm sure they'll get there because I have questions to ask you, Doctor.
Right, right.
You're ambitious, you say.
Yes, I am.
Did you always aspire to be a party chairman?
No. I just wanted to be an academic, honestly.
So.
But I wanted to be a professor at the age of 35.
That was a target.
That I thought that I would look better, you know, at that level. But I couldn't make it. By the time I finished my PhD in 1973, November 73, and I came home here, it was a difficult time. It was a champion's time.
Let me ask you.
It was a very difficult time, and that frustrated my ambitions.
Right. I'll get there again, but I'm curious.
Yeah.
Pussigga to Straddle University in Scotland. Such a distance, such strides.
Pussigga, I finished Pussigga. No, I didn't. I transferred from Pussigga to Jaskan, and I finished my Set A in 1965. And 66, so I was teaching in Adidome. When I was coming to Accra, Nkrumah was overthrown during, just before the trade fair, around this time. And he was somebody who inspired me a lot. You understand? So from there, 2 years as a teacher, I went out without study leave with pay to take a bursary at the University of Ghana in '67 when I read psychology. 3 years, I graduated with the second upper in psychology. Now, I can say that I had deserved a first. But they told me that, my professors told me that they had just opened the department. How could they give me a first? They would chip in it.
Most unfair.
But then they gave me scholarship, University of Ghana scholarship, to go to Strathclyde. So
it wasn't a choice to go to Straddle. You were just given the offer.
No, I mean, you see, I wish to show you my academic performance. Sociology wanted me to train as a lecturer. Geography wanted me to train as a lecturer. Psychology wanted me to train as a lecturer. And I chose psychology because it was related to the subject I had learned in the training college, and it was a new department that was being opened, so I saw opportunities there.
Wow.
So
Stop right there, doctor. A new department and you see opportunities when you have not seen people go through it and come out and be a certain
they
way.
were using this to teach all of us. Psychology, they were using psychology to teach all of us, to tell us how we behave, we do this and that. And I thought that not many people had trained in that area. So if I went to train in that area, my future, I had brighter future prospects. That's what I did. So I chose were a few. When I became a really thoroughbred PhD psychology, person, trained person here in Ghana. You understand? And that's why I told you that I said I wanted to become a professor at the age of 35 in psychology.
How are you using your psychology as we speak now?
Oh, a lot.
Tell me. Why not?
But then you know what I think about
Now that you tell me, okay, let me ask you. You didn't set up to become a political party chairman.
No. I'll tell you why I became.
But first you wanted to be an engineer.
I wanted to be an engineer.
What changed?
Well, you went to training college. You didn't study those subjects that will make you an engineer. You understand? You studied English, you studied a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But the physics, chemistry things, mathematics things were not open to you. And those days you needed to do practicals. We couldn't do it. So I had to change my course. You understand? So when I went to do psychology, I was more interested in the engineering and informational and statistics and research, aspects of psychology. So at my PhD, coming from training college, I became, I got a PhD in statistics and research methods in psychology. Because, that's where my mind is. As I am sitting here now, I'm writing a primer in ICT for secondary schools and above, as I sit here. And if I begin to talk to you, in ICT, you won't believe where I've come from. I've known how to study on my own. I know where the bent of my capacities and interests are, and I've pursued them.
Okay.
Thank God to the internet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very briefly, how did you come to know how to study on your own? Was it through practice?
No,
or is it innate?
Particularly, I studied on my own until I met that teacher I told you about. You understand? Who was studying on his own also. And I found the courses interesting, talking about British Constitution, how Parliament, worked, the theories of politics, democracy, and all that. I got interested. and economic history going back to the olden days about how they organized the agriculture, the trade fairs and things. And it was, I thought that my country was moving in that direction, so I got interested.
So that is what propelled you to where you are today?
Yes. And, Madam, I'll tell you one thing. Since that time, I've never taken a leave. No leave. Because
no leave of what?
No leave. I'm used, let's say, to sleep for 5 hours or less. I'll go and study. Without that, I can't sleep.
Even today?
Now.
Interesting.
I look at my politics, I look at my academic background, I look at the world, the way the world is going. I try to look at my party, and I do a whole lot of things that keep me alive, things that would make me get people united and move forward faster than now.
Let's talk about your politics. What is your politics?
My politics is the politics of NDC.
What is the politics of the NDC?
Policy of NDC is social democracy.
Now that has been an issue.
Yes.
Yes. What is social democracy in your perspective with regards to the NDC?
I have always explained it. People think there is something controversial about what is liberal democracy, what is social democracy. But you see, my understanding of politics is that politics is guided by ideology. And the ideology ranges from one pole to another pole, which we call the ideological spectrum, from left to right. The leftists are extreme socialists. The rightists are extreme liberal Democrats. You understand? Now, as the world is changing...
Are Democrats necessarily capitalist?
Let me come to the point, madam. As the world is... Because democracy, what does democracy really mean? Freedom of this, right of that, this one of this, put the person at the center, isn't it? That's what it all means. Even our traditional system has a lot of democracy in it. So what I was saying is that as the world is moving up and people are becoming more and more discerning, politicians are also becoming more and more discerning to the extent that labels don't make a meaning. So they are moving from the right towards the center and from the left towards the center. So we in NDC belong to what the Social Democratic Party that we describe as left of center. You see, left of center.
An interesting hybrid. We're taking a break again, Doctor. When we come back, please, I do hope you'll answer my question if liberal Democrats are necessarily capitalist.
Right, I will.
Thank you. Coming off as a very fiery person, do you use the same attitude to govern your party, for want of a better word, as chairman? Your Social Democratic NDC.
In the first place, let me do a little correction. I think, well, I was saying that we are social democrats. We are quite left of center. You understand?
Precisely what does that mean, to be left of center?
In other words, if you have a continuum, you draw a continuum from one end, polar end, to the other, and there is a midpoint. This is left, this is right. We are just about here.
A little off the center.
Yes. So I think our colleagues, in the liberal democracy are also moving here.
To the very center?
Yes, and some of them are almost right of center.
Again, we still have the opposing divide.
But then we have the opposing divide depending upon the emphasis, policy emphasis, depending upon the way the leaders look at the human being as a center of development. That's it.
So many text messages have come in. Let me share them with you and our viewers, and then we'll continue.
Okay.
Akosia Solomon Akosa again says, ask the chairman whether he has regretted being a member of the NDC per what is happening now in the party. And Anita Sam says, this is the first time I'm seeing him and he's such a gentleman. Perhaps too gentle to be in politics. You are indeed a role model for the youth. And Emmanuel Edamamu says, please ask Doctor for me whether Papa J will be coming to the rally tomorrow. Indeed, we want to know. And it's in fact, with this man in NDC, Ghana is on the verge of becoming a gargantuan nation among the African countries. He's very noble and a peacemaker, a peacemaking man who doesn't talk and vomit words anyhow in the political arena. Issy, please tell him that he's my role model. Indeed. Hetsipe Christian says so. Samilate, can you please ask him why it is so difficult for leaders of political parties to call their youth to order when they insult political opponents? And Doctor, what do you remember about Pussigga? Okay. We will, what do you remember about Pussigga briefly, and then we'll continue, and perhaps hopefully we'll get to the point where you can answer some of the questions that viewers have sent to us. What do you remember about Pussigga, very briefly?
I remember that Pussigga is far up there in the today's upper east. And our compound, our, if you like, residences were made of beautiful round huts. And I remember that around this time, there were lots of tarantulas.
Tarantulas?
Yes, tarantulas and things. And we had to be organized for, what they call it, this cerebrospinal meningitis. We had to, at that I knew it was very hot.
To be vaccinated?
Yes, but the people around there were very friendly. We had guinea fowls and guinea fowl eggs for free. And we had teachers who were very motivated, and they had a lot of interest in teaching us.
You had a good impression of Pussigga then?
Yes.
But I want to know about the off-center NDC. Yes. What is the politics of the party? And you've introduced us to social democracy. That is a little off-center.
You know that there has been a relative political instability in this country for some time.
Indeed.
When if you like, there was a recurrent decimal of coups. Let me put it that way. And Jerry John Rawlings came. When he came, some of the men he worked with, some of them were ultra-leftists. Some of them I taught. Nyanyayen and others like that, I taught them. And the man Jerry didn't like, that extremism. So gradually he brought people from different ideological backgrounds, like me, like others we know, like Francis Annan, like J.H. Champong, were all from different political persuasions with the mindset that this country must move, and that we must make sure that the people see development, in their lifetime. Now, in combining this group of people, gradually, those who were in the left began, to see things with the people from the right. And gradually, we moved together to form a concept that I will not call ideology, but we felt that that was the best way of moving this country forward. And that has produced the stability that we see today. Jerry John Rawlings, and bringing all of us together And for us to think together to say that, you know, ideologies are simple labels. They don't move people, they are labels. That is what I believe in. And that is what, yeah.
Let's take a look at your arena that you came from. You came, you were a parliamentary candidate for the Popular Front Party. You were PNDC Deputy Secretary for Volta Region at some point. You have very rich political history. You have held cabinet ministerial appointments for lands and forestry, Deputy Majority Chief with Minister of Agriculture. Where were you coming from to the point where you came to and to the point where you've arrived at?
Well, Madam, I've told you that I trained as a psychologist. My profession was a teacher. I understood people, I understood systems. I still understand people, I understand systems. So...
And by systems, what do you mean? Just so we get it clear.
Let us go through the points you have mentioned first, and I'll tell you what systems are. Systems mean bringing together, you know, components and interrelated parts to perform as a whole. That's what I mean by systems. Now, the computer has a system. Politics has a system.
Right.
Culture has a system. Me, my body, my physiology has a system. That's why they call it the central nervous system or the nervous system. So bringing parts, you know, small parts together to work in an integrated fashion as a whole. You understand? That is a system. Can I go back to what the question?
Yes, please. The arena that led you.
Now, I went to Pussigga, and then I told you that, I've told you that I did my correspondence courses, finished my Set A, went to teach for 2 years, came to University of Ghana in '67, finished in 1970, went to University of Strathclyde, completed PhD in research and statistics in psychology. Then I came back and I told you that I said I wanted to be a professor at the age of 35. And when I was crossing that point, I thought to myself it was no use. Then I found that my people back in Biakoye area, it was a bigger constituency than now.
You had returned from Straddle after your PhD.
You know, I was teaching in the University of Ghana. I started teaching in the University of Ghana from 1974. You understand? So this one is 79, 74, and it was difficult. It was a champion's regime. Things were really difficult. If you see the picture before me, before that regime, and after that regime, you see that we went through a very difficult period.
And indeed, that's the arena I want to know about, Doctor. What informed you to join Jerry John Rawlings, ex-President Rawlings?
I'm just developing it. So when I was in that difficult time, I was the first Ghanaian university lecturer to turn his brand new car into a taxi, and I drove it. I drove it around Accra here. I drove it to Lome and back to keep body and soul together, to take care of my siblings. Before, I've mentioned it somewhere else, before one Professor Jacob Sonsori also joined me. Now, as I was doing that, well, I had not been trained to be a taxi driver. You understand? I hadn't. So the opportunity came, you know, for the return to civilian rule. I went to stand in my hometown as a councillor for the district assembly. I was elected. I went to the assembly, and then the time came for elections, and I went to stand as a PFP candidate. But I was an Nkrumah. But I didn't like the way the Nkrumahs treated our Nkrumah, and I didn't agree with them. And I was at the University of Ghana, where most of us there, most of them were, you know, Bushaists.
I'm sorry to interrupt you again, but I cannot let you continue without letting us know how they treated him and what you didn't like about it. So we can continue. Just
that is
briefly.
public knowledge. Nkrumah was betrayed. He was given so many names. He was he was described as doing so many things he didn't
Were
do.
the people not justified?
No, I don't think they were.
And is that
They
what
are not.
frustrated you?
He was my idol. So maybe I'm blind to what they are saying. But I think he did the best for this country. He wasn't the murderer they thought he was. He wasn't the person who was, you know, taking the monies away from this country. He was the person who was building this, the Ghana Educational Trust institutions, free compulsory education, free education at training college levels where I benefited. And I thought that the ones who were his ministers, appointees, and people near him at that time when I was a small boy had betrayed him. I didn't want to work with them. So I went to join PFP because many of my friends at the university were in that group. So I was there.
What was encouraging about that group, having left a party that you had lost faith in?
Because you see, Pussigga had written a book saying True Democracy for Africa. If you read it before. So I thought that he was a Democrat, like I wanted to be. So there was no reason why I shouldn't shift from where I was to what a professor of sociology who also professed to be a Democrat
Indeed,
wanted to lead us to.
Dr. Nkrumah was socialist inclined, was he not?
He was a socialist, but he was a Democrat to a large extent.
Wow. We take another break. When we come back, we'll delve into it and get to the matter. But
So
we're
to a large
anxious about the
extent.
issues that are pending in your party currently. And I know a whole lot of people want to know what you're doing about
No
it.
problem.
Again, you're on the Dr. Kwabena Adjei. So you became a member of the Pussigga party, the popular people
Yes, for about
formed.
10 to 11 months, and I quit.
Oh dear.
Because I was very open and I wanted change. You know, they weren't open. They didn't want change. And I don't think they are open now and they want change.
You still had the now spirit in you moving from the Nkrumah, the CPP.
Of course, I wanted a place to be my fortress, the platform to move my country forward. If I see a group of people who share the same interests, the same ideologies, the same vision with me, I go to them. But I don't usually jump from one place to the other. I've done that jump once, and I regretted it.
Why?
Because I've told you that they were not open to ideas. And, you know, I come from both regions. And I don't think that, you know, they gave me the respect that they should give a Ghanaian. And so I felt I didn't belong. I simply felt I didn't belong.
Are you implying that perhaps it's because you were from the Volta region?
Precisely, that's what I've said. You understand? I said the way they treated me, I didn't feel I belonged.
How did they treat you?
Oh, many ways, madam. Let's, you know, the past is past. Let's use the positive aspects of what has passed to come to today and move forward.
But I'm also very interested in what informed you to make a decision like that, leaving one party, joining another, and then leaving to another.
My father was an Nkrumahist. He joined the CPP the year and the month it was formed, 1949, June. I have the card. I was a young pioneer. And I told you, madam, that I didn't like the way Nkrumah's own appointees and people in his closet treated him. I didn't. The Kucheba Queens, the whatever, I didn't like it. I was a young man, but my mind was open. And I could see in the future how, you know, the kind of treatment likely to be meted out by politicians to their fellow politicians. you understand, just to gain whatever they want to gain. I was looking, maybe I was an idealist. I was young, so there was this measure of idealism in me, but he was my idol. So I got angry, went to university, was very argumentative, very academic, and I met my friends like the Nkrumahs, like all the others, and then I got attracted to them. And then I had another, political father in my hometown, and who really pushed me when I was, if you like, the secretary of the Nkrumah Youth Association. He convinced me to go and stand for the constituency.
Your relationship with the PNDC?
Oh, you see, when I was doing the campaign, I lost marginally. I competed with Dr. Kwabena Adjei of UNC. I competed with Dr. Amwa of PMP. PMP was the Liman party. So I lost marginally. I didn't know that it seems that Jerry was watching or observing. Now, I was driving my taxi around 3 days in Accra, getting money, 4 days doing campaign work and so forth.
So you had abandoned being a lecturer completely at that point? No. You were still
that time I was doing it. Maybe 2-3 hours a day.
Right.
Then you had the time to do your work. Okay. So, as I was teaching also all over the place, University of Cape Coast, School of Social Welfare, adult education, and so forth. So, I think that what happened was that after I did that, I thought that I was being overused, and so I took a course in Legon there, I was admitted to do the MBA course, and I finished in 1988.
Did Jerry Rawlings then approach you to become a member of the PNDC?
No.
He was
then I
watching
went to Nigeria on sabbatical. I went to Nigeria on sabbatical, and I went far away to a place called Maiduguri in Borno State. Driving from the gate of our motorway to Borno State was 2,200 kilometers. And I drove myself. I'll get there, come back. I went in and out twice or thrice in a year. A VW Beetle or my Passat.
When did you meet Jerry Rawlings?
So, I finished my contract there in 1986. Came home in August. And then I didn't want to leave Ghana, so I applied for a job advertised in the papers. Director of Human Resource in the State Enterprises Commission. So there was a man there, minister responsible for, that is State Secretary responsible for State Enterprise Commission, Willie Ada. So I wasn't given the appointment because some people had been, already employed before the advertisement actually came. So he called me and told me that he liked my background. So he gave me a job at the Ghana Airways as a local consultant, and he knew that I could check the whites.
Who gave you the job?
Willie Ada, he said he was going to give me that job. But that job had to be cleared with the chairman of the PNDC. You know the chairman of the PNDC?
Jerry Rawlings?
Jerry Rawlings. J.J. Rawlings. And when it went there, he said, I've been looking for this man. taking him as a deputy PNDC secretary to Volta region.
So he didn't get to do the job minding the white man?
No, the Ghana Airways things just, you know, he told him he should go and look for another man.
Did you meet him then? Did you meet him then?
Who?
Jerry Rawlings.
No, he just appointed me. In those days, you not appointed me in Volta region, and I ran for it. I thought that was an opportunity to serve my country.
Were you told he had particularly said that take him to the Volta region as deputy minister?
No, I know, because Willie was my very good friend. He said, I'm taking this man to Volta region, because at that time, there was a very rapid turnover of PNDC secretaries and their deputies in the Volta region. So he wanted to stabilize it. So he took me there to be a deputy to one Richard Segler, and then he brought in Kwame Mensa, now the secretary to the president, to be the regional administrator. So 3 of us were there, and for as long as we were there, the place was a little bit stabilized. So that's how I got into the PNDC. That's how I got into the PNDC, and I got to know that in spite of the fact that I got to the PNDC 5 years after coming into power, my ideas were accepted. I was respected.
What are these ideas?
Oh, those ideas that merged us to the left of center.
Like what?
Madam, what ideas are they? The people are the center of governance.
They listened?
They listened. Oh, my colleagues, they listened.
Do you
I've worked
listen
with them.
as party chairman?
Pardon?
Do you listen as party chairman?
If I don't listen, how can this party be alive? I listen.
What has been your experiences as party chairman?
Oh, well,
particularly looking at the last elections.
A lot. A lot. I enjoyed, I never thought of being a party chairman until something happened and I was prevented from going to Parliament again.
What happened?
Well, I told you that I had competed with Kwabena Adjei before.
Whom you thought?
No.
Worked
He was much my senior. By 1969, Dr. Kwabena Adjei was in Parliament, you know, and I was the presiding officer at that time in the elections. But as we were going on, I found that he didn't quite, favor me, and I knew that he linked up with the chairman in my constituency. He knows that. My chairman knows that, to make sure I didn't go back to Parliament.
Sabotage?
Well, call it sabotage. So I decided that, and I lost the bid to go back to Parliament again. So I saw that I'll take the chairmanship from him, and I did. And I did it within about 3 weeks, just like that.
What was the plan?
Well, that, madam, is a secret.
Oh, dear doctor. Just one tiny little whisper.
I had you see, let me tell you one thing about influence. There are various sources of influence. If you like, influence derived from brain power or academia, from wealth, from whatever. But the strongest, the most potent influence is the influence derived from interpersonal relationship, which I have.
And he doesn't have?
Oh, no, not many people have, the influence of interpersonal relationship. You come to me, we sit down, you see me from a distance, you think that this man is unapproachable. You approach me and you see how approachable I am. And I have time for people.
The psychology comes at play, doesn't it?
That is where the psychology, because you see, if you're a leader also, you must maintain a certain socio-political distance. If you don't do that, you can't really enforce discipline.
So you need to sort of find a fine line between being close and being
That's
distant.
right. Sometimes you must put on a facade.
Oh,
Do you understand what I mean? You have asked me, you know, I've disclosed this one and I don't like it.
Oh, it's okay, doctor. I heard you're a very funny man. Is that true?
Yeah, very, very.
How can you tell you're funny? How does one know that one is funny?
No, I know I'm funny. And if you encounter me on situations where I'm funny, you really know that I'm really very funny.
Right. So you beat Dr. Asamoah to party chairmanship and you became party chairman. What did you bring to the party that's different, that has brought the party to be where it is now?
Well, I mean, if I hadn't done anything, you wouldn't be inviting me here. You wouldn't know me. You wouldn't know me at all.
Well, what have you done, Doctor?
We've brought the party to power. You understand? As to what I did, I cannot tell because we did it collectively. I told you it's the influence of interpersonal relationship. We didn't have money. We didn't. But many people know how, you know, we worked together, sent people, they sacrificed, did this, that, did that, just because I was a leader who could motivate through the power of interpersonal relations. Not through money. I didn't have it. They didn't have it too.
Indeed, a leader who can motivate through the power of interpersonal relationships. Yet your party today, you said yourself, is divided. How has it come to that? And this has come to be under your leadership.
Look, there is no organization, no community that doesn't have conflict. None. Any organization, or let's reduce it to the level of political party, that does not have conflictual relationship is dead.
To the extent where party chairman will call the party to order?
Now, the party chairman calls the party to order in order to make sure that, you know, the conflict doesn't go beyond a certain limit.
What are the issues you're grappling with in the NDC?
We have a lot of problems.
Specifically?
You see, we have a lot of problems there. We aggregate interests. You can't prevent groups or factions from forming. You can't. And, you know, we are a Congress. So we have people from different backgrounds with different interests. And sometimes it can be difficult to manage. So when it becomes difficult to manage, you appeal to your higher authority to try to see that things don't go out of hand.
As a psychologist, did you not see it coming? Did you not see it coming?
If I didn't see it coming, why should I, you know, issue a letter that I didn't want you to know, but it got leaked?
But it seems to me at the time it came, things had fallen apart.
Not really.
So what is the state of the NDC today?
The state of the NDC, you can see we are very vibrant, but we wish things could be better than now, so that, you know, we all move forward in unison and in unity. So it's not as I would expect, you understand, but it's not too bad.
What would you expect of a party that has gone out of power?
What would I expect? Maybe it would be utopian. Because I go through my mind and I find that, you know, it will not be possible, you know, to get all the people all the time, you know, following the same mission, doing the same thing. So I understand. And that's why I have been a middle liner.
How have you dealt with the Jerry Rawlings faction or the Game Funka factions?
No, let's... Funka things, you know, have passed. You understand?
Have they?
oh, whether they are there or not, they were situational. The Funka thing was situational. It was situational to Madam Rawlings's, if you understand, campaign for a presidential candidature. That is not part of the problem. I don't see that as a problem at all.
What is your problem?
No, I see that, like you're saying, there are groups within the party, and some of them come out to the open. You understand? Too often to talk about this, to talk about that, when we could sort things out, you know, you understand?
So was that what bothered you? That too many things were being aired in public?
That is it. You know, I'm a very outspoken person. But being the leader of this party, not the leader, the leader is
President Mills.
President Mills, being the chairman of this party.
Do you, in your mind, think that you're the leader, Doctor?
Pardon?
Do you, in your mind, perceive yourself to be the leader, even though the mantle has been given to President Mills because he is the president of this country and from your party?
No. Madam, he is the leader.
But you said being the leader, was it
I used to be the leader when we were in opposition. And our constitution prescribes who becomes the leader when we are in government. He is the leader. Now, as I was saying that, you see, when you become the chairman of a party, you don't only canvass for votes. You don't campaign. You don't go to the extent of insulting other people. You see, you must be perceived as that person up there who brings the people together. NDC, MPP, PNC, PPP, all of them are alike.
Have you done that?
Oh, but have you heard me ever insult anybody? Have you even heard me react to anybody who has insulted me?
So that has been a conscious strategy.
Yes, you see, you have to nurture democracy.
Unfortunately, Doctor, I have to bring the show to a close, and I want to know, did you have that meeting with President Mills, which you called for, that became public knowledge in the letter you wrote regarding the situation?
That is essentially and basically an internal party affair. I won't disclose that.
Well, it's interesting because if a party chairman calls the president to have a meeting, calls on the president to have a meeting with specific personalities in the party, and it was such a big issue, and we don't know if the meeting did happen.
Madam, I didn't want this one to come out. You see, let me tell you, when I write a letter to the main adversary, I sign my full signature. If I copy it to somebody, I sign a shorter signature. I didn't want this letter to leak.
So how do you feel about it now?
But I had, you see, the boys in President Rawlings, because President Rawlings wasn't there when the letter was sent by my friend sitting here.
Do you have a grip as party chairman?
Please.
Do you have a grip as party chairman, Doctor?
No, let me finish. So this letter got leaked. In spite of it and all that they said about me, I didn't say anything. This is the first time I told you how it may have leaked. I wanted it to be essentially an internal party affair. Madam, I will have my grip. I'm the party chairman. I was popularly elected.
Do you have it?
I say that do you know some of my appellations?
What are some of your appellations?
If you don't, then why are you asking me? You don't know my why appellations?
No, tell me, Doctor.
You don't know Nana Okunkra, the first and the last?
We are famous.
You don't know
Thank you very much, Dr. Kwame. You're married, are you?
Pardon?
You're married, are you?
I am.
But I've been looking for a ring on your finger and I haven't found one.
I did it traditional.
Oh.
I've told you I'm an African.
Interesting.
Thank
what do your worst critics say about you?
Oh, I don't care. They can say whatever they want.
Do you hear what they say about you? Some of the things they say?
I do.
Does it hit you?
Doesn't.
It doesn't.
No.
Thanks again.
Don't.
Thanks again.